Okay, so you need to have these type of lights, which I just use bug lights, the yellow type of lights. They do have screen printing bulbs, but either one will work. You have to be in a light environment where you're not having any UV light on these screens as you're getting ready to expose them. These screens are already coated with emulsion, so I'm just gonna get the 160 mesh count here. And what I normally do is I just set it on one of my platens, and then right here I'm just making sure that the emulsion is dry completely. If it's not, just leave it in there and wait till it's dry. So now I'm going to be setting up the artwork, and you always make sure when you put your artwork on this on the screen that you put it on the back side, meaning the side down that's going to be on the platen, and you have to reverse the image, so it'll be backwards on the back side. And the reason why you do this is because you want the image to be correct on the garment. And here I just saved a sheet, and I printed both of these together because they fit on here perfectly. No sense of wasting two sheets when you can do it with one. Alright, now I got those cut off. I'm going to do, this is going to be a white and a black when we get done with the color here. And I don't know what I'm doing there. Okay, so we're going to do the black highlight first. Make sure it's backwards like I said. And try to get it in the center of the screen if you can. If you go too low, then the platen's going to be in the way when you bring down the arm. And too high, it's just going to be hard to actually get a good print for the screen to release. So the best spot is right there towards the center. And always measure, if you have multiple colors, you want to measure the distance from the top of the screen to the actual artwork. And here I'm looking for something. Tape, probably. Yep, that's what it was. Okay, so we're going to tape this down. I just put a couple pieces there to hold it, and then I'll come back and I'll measure the distance from the top of the screen to the top of the artwork. Make sure it's, when I do the white color, make sure it's the right, same distance, because it's a pain if you off just a little bit. It's hard to line up on the screen, and a lot of frustration, so make sure you do it right the first time. I always make sure I do it right the first time. Cuts out the frustration. Measure multiple times and print and burn once. The price of emulsion has went up over the years, so try not to waste these screens if you can help it. I always measure from one corner to the other, and usually that's pretty good. Once you get it set, then tape it down. Alright, so here I'm just measuring from corner to corner to make sure the length is the same length both ways. And I'm having an issue for some reason. Okay, it looks pretty good. Maybe not. Aggravation. Here we go. So I've got 3 lights hooked up in my shop here that have the color safe light bulbs in them, which are just bug lights, incandescent bug lights. You just need to have a light bulb that doesn't, have any type of UV. You don't want like a fluorescent light or anything in there, because it'll start exposing the emulsion, and you don't want that. Okay. Oh, that thing's coming off. Okay. So now we put it on the exposure unit. Alright, and you want to make sure you always put something on the back side of the image and then put weight on it. I put about 20 pounds, and I think that's pretty decent. It works pretty good for everything I've used it for, so one on each side. The reason you want to make sure you have crisp edges, that's why you put weight on there. And like I said, always have something on the back side. You don't want it just sitting on there because it's not going to do a good job. You want pressure on there so that way the edges are sharp and good to go. Alright, now this only takes my current setup 20 seconds and it's exposed perfect. And that goes for halftones and everything. It's a photopolymer called CryoCoat, the emulsion that I actually use. I get it from Ryonet, but there's other places you can get it as well. But this particular one, it works the best for me, and it's so quick. You don't have to wait for 5-10 minutes to expose one like you do some of the other ones. Alright, now we're taking it to the washout booth, and I just spray a little bit of water here and let it set for about a minute or so before I hit it with the hose. It seems to help, wash the image out a little quicker. You want to try to avoid a whole lot of water on there if you can, because if you have to spray it for a long time to get the emulsion out, chances are you're going to start removing part of the emulsion that you don't want gone. And you're also going to want to have, right there, I know you can't see it because it's dark, but you want to have an air compressor. That way you blow out all the water and stuff after we get done exposing the unit. So anyways, and then in there I have another safety white light. Inside the washout booth I have a safety light that's able. See, now I'm just spraying. You don't have to do a lot of pressure, just spray around the the image, just kind of hit everything and it starts washing out. Yep, just take your time. And if you're doing halftones, of course you're going to want to go really slow because you don't want to wash out your halftones, but this particular design doesn't have halftones. And here I'm just checking it against the light to make sure. Sorry about the camera angle here. Alright, it looks good, so I'm going to come over here to my air compressor. This is just a regular air compressor, and I'm going to blow out the top side first to make sure all the emulsion's out, because sometimes what will happen is the emulsion will leak down, and if you don't have it blew out completely, that'll harden, and then your screen you won't be able to use your screen. So that's all I'm doing here is just blowing out blowing the water off the image and that sort of thing. Alright, just take your time, make sure you get all the water off, and then make sure the emulsion's not leaking down. After I get done with this, I'll actually put it up towards the light to make sure there's no wet spots. Because in the past I've had issues with emulsion running down, and then it messes with your design. You can't get ink all the way through it when that happens. So I'm just holding it to the light, which you can't really see because of the camera angle. Alright, now it's good, so I'm going to take it out and put it in the sun. Now, let the sun harden it. That way everything's good to go. You want to make sure it's thoroughly dry, and the sun's the best way to do it. The UV light and everything is perfect. Okay, now time for screen number 2. Same type of thing here. We're just gonna get in here and get another screen. Get in here, get another screen, and do the process for what will be the white ink screen. It's a 160. I'm probably going to use something a little bit. With white ink is always going to be your thickest. It has the most pigment in it. So if you can get by with a low mesh count, I would do so. But like a 110 or something like that, sometimes the edges are kind of jagged, so you got to kind of take that in consideration too. So a good one is anywhere from 140 to 160. And then if it's halftones, of course, you're going to want to go a little bit smaller than that. But usually with the white, you're going to use it for an underbase or something. But the particular inks I'm using here are, of course, are opaque. The white and the black's opaque, so I don't need an actual underbase for the current design. I forgot to measure it completely. I lost the measurement. So just what I'm doing here is just taking it to where the registration mark is on the actual design and measuring it from there. Because remember, I cut this thing in half, so it doesn't really have a square, a square type of edge on it. But no problem, both of these images have their own registration mark, so I'll just measure from there, from the top of the registration mark to the top of the screen. And then what I'll do is I'll make sure it's level. I'll throw the square, the T-square up on that, and I'll show you. It's best to take your time here. You want to make sure you make it easier on yourself by taking a little bit extra time and measure. And this shirt is actually for a Vacation Bible School for a church that I'm working on right here. It's for their volunteers. Same thing, just make sure you put something in there to weigh it down and cover the image. And 20 seconds again here. I actually used a 180 on there. Same thing, just kind of spray this over to get the image wet. Start the process of washing the emulsion out. Both sides. This is the print side, and then the other side, of course, the bottom side is going to be the shirt side. Again, just take your time washing it out. Try to always wash out your registration marks too, because it makes it easier if you need to use them for the registration when you get ready to put the screens up. Same thing here, we're just blowing that water out. Some people use newspapers and stuff. I personally just rather use an air compressor. It works better for me. I've tried newspapers and I didn't like that approach. But it's, you know, to each his own. Some people like it, some people don't. Just one thing though is you want to make sure if you're doing halftones that you don't blow your halftones out, because that will happen occasionally if you're not careful. Alright, this is going to go back out in the sun and harden in the sun. Pay attention to the one that I set out earlier. You can see that it's already hardening, almost set up completely. Okay, now we're going to do another screen. This is actually for VBS, Vacation Bible School again. They have two different designs, one for the people that will be working in the kitchen, and then one for the teachers and the volunteers. So, and this one has a two-color design again, white and then like a blue, light blue, that'll go into a sapphire color shirt. The light blue is actually a highlight. Works really good. It looks really good. Again, check the screen, make sure the emulsion's dry, and I'm checking the camera here too. Okay. It's dry, so we're going to go ahead and get the design for the second shirt. And this will be the white color. Same process as before. Get it squared and close to the center of the screen. And then make sure we set this for the second screen after everything's level. Like I said, you want to make sure you take your time. This is important that the artwork is level and right where it needs to be. And then tape it down, and we'll burn the screen too. You can see why it's important for me to have emulsion that, you know, doesn't take a long time to burn, because sometimes some designs have 6 screens and you won't have to wait 5 to 8 to 10 minutes to expose the screen. So this right here, 20 seconds, is just perfect. I lost part of the thing. I have to put this back on. 20 seconds. And that's it. Let's go wash it out now. Quick as that. And just remember that with your emulsion, your burning time on the screen, it depends upon your setup. You know how your setup is for your actual light box, and you know what emulsion you're using. And make sure that you actually grab the right spray bottle. That's why it's got a different color. One time I actually hit emulsion remover and I lost all the emulsion off the screen. So make sure you get the right bottle. So that's why it's got a different color top now. That wasn't good. Things do happen. It has some details, so just take your time through it. Oh, hosing it out. Just take your time removing the emulsion. Alright, looks good. Now it's time to get to the air compressor and let's blow the water out of it. Again, the the print side first, and then now the shirt side. Guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I'll respond to them. And please make sure, if you like this video, to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out, guys. And also the links to my shops, if you like any of these designs that you see on my channel, except for this one, of course, it's for a church. If you like any of the designs, just there's a link down below. Just click on that link and it'll take you to my website where you can pay securely through PayPal. Guys, thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next video.